Hello everybody, this is Chad Millard and this is the case study, module 8. Little summary about the article. It's about a boy named Carl who is struggling in his class with his behavior, and his parents just recently went through the divorce, and the divorce is pretty rough on the family. And then there's a new SPED teacher named Susan, and this is her first year of teaching in a brand new school. And then there's Miss Taylor, Carl's classroom teacher, and she's really struggling with Carl and his behavior, where he's being abusive, very disruptive to the whole class. So basically, Miss Taylor has had enough of Carl in her class and is requesting for Susan to fix the issue and get Carl out of the class. Susan had a meeting, got the meeting together with parents, Miss Taylor, and after that meeting she got some better understanding of what the situation was, but still not sure who would be able to help with Carl and his outbursts. So category 1, identifying the problem. What we know. We know Carl's behavior changed after the divorce. We do know that this district is a small and conservative on their money, so they share a lot of the resources, especially the service resources. We know that Susan's a new teacher. We know that Carl is both abusive and physical. And we finally know that Miss Taylor is overly frustrated and wants Carl out of her class. What we need to know is, what is setting Carl off? What are these triggers, and what part of the day or when are these triggers happening where he becomes disruptive in class? We need to know if he's receiving any counseling, any outside help, or during the school day some help to talk to about these problems that he's facing home and at school. And we need to know, what is Miss Taylor doing in class to help Carl? We know that she's struggling with him. We know that she's given up, but we need to know, what is she doing in class? Is she doing anything to help Carl through the problems, or is it something happening? We just need to know more about what is happening in the class. We need some more insight on the home life. We had a little bit of about the meeting, about how the mom should be blaming the dad and things of that nature, but what else is going on at home? Is he getting enough sleep? Is he getting food? Is he being a little bit neglected? That type of thing we need to understand. So we need a little more insight into his home life. And then we need to know what Carl enjoys. A lot of times when you can bring in positives to a student, it can help be a goal-oriented thing for him, and could help make his days better. So getting to know Carl, things that he likes, does not like, can really help with identifying the problem. Proposes plan of action. So my plan is, Carl needs a consistent and positive adult in his life. He needs somebody in that school that shows that they care about him, they're there for him, just that positive reinforcement of that for that child. When you have a positive role model in your school, can make a big difference in that child's day. I feel that Susan needs to create a goal sheet with a reward tied to it. When you set up goals and there's a reward, that, like I said before, knowing what Carl likes, if we can set up a reward plan for him, so where he is making it through the day or achieving academic or limited disruptive outbursts, then he can receive a reward maybe at the end of the week. So maybe like an action plan that where is a goal sheet and reward tied to it. I do feel that Susan needs to be in that classroom more, observing and implementing the IEP that she has set out. Also, that she can get a better understanding of what is going on and when are the disruptive behaviors happening. And then finally, I think we should create a check-in and check-out sheet with that consistent teacher in that building. So we're talking about creating a positive adult in his life, and then we can have somebody that he checks in, checks out, and kind of just goes over how his morning, how his afternoons are going, how did yesterday go. Just that consistent figure that is more than just that person that teaches academics, but more of a person who cares about him personally and what he's going through, and being kind of like his team cheerleader. So that's my action plan. And then to resolve the issues based on promoting success of all students. So what is best for the students? I do feel like Susan and Ms. Taylor need to work together and get on the same page. I feel like it's a lot of Ms. Taylor pointing fingers, always referring back to the previous teacher, how they did it. Doesn't really seem to be receptive to the new teacher, and is kind of pushing all of the blame and workload on her. They need to be on the same page. They need to come up with a plan together that they both can implement, that they both agree to, and it would definitely help out Carl. I do honestly think that we need to set up a counseling session for Carl. Didn't really say much about if there's a counselor at the school, but anytime there's kids that are going through this type of trauma and having more issues at home, there needs to be an outlet and a way for that person, for that child, to communicate on a daily basis. We could set up counseling maybe 2 or 3 times a week, daily if needed, if it can work into a schedule. I know that the school district is low on budget, but I'm sure they can figure out a way to help this child out. And then we need to develop that positive relationship for Carl and create that goal sheet for him. Debrief the problem. So what was I thinking when I was reading this? I think the school needs... Oh no. I think the school needs better support for the students. There seems to be, I know they're low on the resources, but there needs to be a better set up plan for that child. Not just one special education teacher. Needs to be kind of a better support. Where's the principal in this? Assistant principal. A lot of people that we don't know about that can be definitely a support for the students. Trauma training for Susan and Ms. Taylor. Just a better understanding of what kids are going through when something traumatic happens in life. A divorce thing is a very big moment in a child's life, especially when they're in like 3rd grade and they might not understand what is going on. It's trauma. It's a tough feeling. They don't understand. They're confused. Their family's breaking apart. And when you have those trauma trainings, both those teachers can get a better understanding of what that child is going through and how to reach him. And what I also was thinking is, why was there not more support for Susan? It just seems like when a teacher keeps coming in and saying this is like your problem, there was not much of anybody to help back her up. Where is the principal? Where is other teachers? Where is the support in that school? What I was feeling, I was angry at Miss Taylor for giving up on a student. When you say that you're done with a child and you want that person that child out of your class, you're giving up on them. And I think that also probably creates a lot of frustration, because as a student, they can read when a teacher has had enough, and he is already having issues with at home, that his family's breaking up, the parents are done with the marriage, and he feels like everyone's just kind of giving up on him, which can probably create a lot more frustration, even though she might not have said it to him, but you can read body language and tone of voice and how that teacher's acting around him to know that she's given up. So I was very angry that Miss Taylor is asking for a child to get out of her class. I also felt sad for Carl and everything he was going through. I know we talked about the support system backing up, but it's always a tough way, and I don't know the child's background very well, but you know, as any child going through that type of stuff, you feel sorry for them. They're obviously going through a lot of pain, a lot of anger, and they don't know a healthy way of acting that out or using words to express their feelings. And then I felt sorry for Susan, the lack of help she received, and how another teacher is kind of putting a lot of blame on her, saying you have to fix the problem. Well, it takes a community to help our schools, and so it's not just one person's problem. It's a community. It's a school problem. They all need to be on board to what's best and help that child get the best education as possible. What I was valuing, I valued Susan's effort in a tough situation. She didn't seem like she was rattled so much about what that teacher was saying to her, but she was trying to come up with a plan. She was trying to figure it out. At least she was being proactive towards the situation. I value the power of a good classroom teacher. You know, a good classroom teacher, and I don't know that teacher, but from saying she was giving up, I don't know if her classroom organization and behavior management is at the best. I know that students still have struggles throughout the day and they still have it, but I do feel like when a student knows a teacher cares, there's a little bit more a respect issue towards that teacher. And right now, from what I was reading, is that I don't know if that student probably respects her, and I'm sure when she's saying she's giving up, she's sending off a lot of mixed and negative feelings and vibes to that child. And then the results of having a strong staff that works together. You just did not hear much about the principal in this, assistant principals, other teachers. The one teacher didn't give any suggestions, just made all the blame, said you need to fix this. You just can tell that the staff has been a little bit broken and kind of working individuals. And when you have a good community and a good school, a strong staff that works together is always the best. And then next is the unresolved questions and issues. Has Ms. Taylor always been like this? Has she always had that type of demeanor towards a kid? Has she never had any trouble kids like that before? Is she a new teacher? Is she an older teacher? I think she said she's been working 25 years, so she's not new. But has she always been like this? Does the school have any paraeducators? Anybody that can be in that class helping that teacher? And that teacher can be that one-on-one and even to be that positive role model for that child, but help guide them through that situation. And then where's the principal? Where are these principals? Why are they not helping out? And why we have not heard about them? Why are they not in the IEP meetings and such? Reflection on academic success for every student. I would support my staff's plan that they have set up for Carl. Obviously, I would want to be a part of the plans, and I would know what their suggestions were, but I would back them on that. I would also set up a pair for Carl and counseling sessions, and I would offer professional development for Ms. Taylor and more assistance for her. Obviously, she might be going through something or something's going on in her class, but she could probably use some assistance and just offer the professional development, maybe ways like that trauma training or things like that, just for her to get a better understanding and maybe regroup in her class. She also could probably use some breaks throughout the day. Someone that can come in there and just give her a break. Obviously, having a child like that, teacher stress level is high, their patience is low, and they need a little bit of a break. So set up that assistance in her class to help her could definitely be a benefactor for her as a teacher. Promoting personal well-being. Inclusion as much as possible. I would want Carl to be in the class as much as possible, but obviously before you can do that, you need to figure out what the triggers are and what we can do to help him out in the class. I'd also put a safety plan put in place for the class. When he's having a violent outburst, there needs to be a place for those kids to go. You don't want those kids to be witnessing it, and they don't want them to be in that dangerous situation. So it'll probably be leaving the class, keeping Carl contained in the classroom until help can be received. Maybe putting together a CPI team in case that child is being dangerous to himself or others. Someone can put that restraints on him in a safe manner. Trauma training for the staff, and having Carl say he needs breaks when he feels angry, using his words, and setting up those type of things to help him out in the daily class. Reflection on enhancing instructional practice. More SPED and teacher collaboration. It cannot be so divided as it is where one teacher is saying, you got to do this. It needs to be a group, and they need to collaborate and figure out what is best for Carl. Make sure teachers are aware of the IEPs and are they being followed. Understanding that an IEP is put in place to help that individual child and what he needs to be his best in the classroom. And professional development focused on trauma and student behavior. And that is my final slide. Thank you for watching, and have a good year.